All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Has Been Hangout podcast. I'm your host, Trucker Lee. Riding solo tonight, and that's okay. Colton had some stuff he had to get done. That's cool. No big deal. But the show must go on. So I'm here and we're gonna talk some baseball. Got some big news coming up. Lots of fun things coming to the hangout. Um, as you know, it's just gonna be me and Colton moving forward for well, I mean, honestly, I don't know how long. But it's gonna be me and him moving forward. Vic may come in from time to time, but until then, just expect me and him, or just me at times. That's gonna happen. Um, but with that, we'll go ahead and get right into it. So earlier, this is being shot on Monday. Um, John Sterling, the legendary voice of the Yankees, passed away today at the age of 87. That's a big loss for the Yankees family. Longtime radio voice of the Yankees, had one of the most iconic calls um, of the game. He's going to be missed. He's going to be very dearly missed, and I hate to see that. He was basically the voice of my childhood, watching Yankees games and listening to that. Him and Michael K. So uh, I was pretty sad to see that earlier today. Um, but you know, do it for John. Do it for John. We got to get to the playoffs. We got to win the World Series, and you can bet you would hear the Yankees win across New York. I mean, that would be awesome. And as a lifelong Yankees fan, love me or hate me for that, even though I'm wearing a Rangers cap. I love the hat. Okay, don't get it twisted. I love the hat. Um, and I'm a sucker for the colors. That's what gets me. But always been a lifelong Yankees fan. Um, so yes, it was very sad day today. And in other news, Anthony Volpe yesterday got optioned to AAA. Now, I'm not mad about that because Anthony Volpe, in my opinion, got called up way too soon. And that's actually a lot of people's opinion. He got called up way too soon. He's a career 222 hitter. Let's see, I got his stats pulled up here. Um, and in 3 seasons in the bigs, you know, I mean, the highest batting average he had was in 2024. We hit 243. Um, you know, he's he's okay in the field. He's not great. Um, and last year it really showed. It really showed. He only had 171 putouts, only 326 assists, and had 19 errors, and a fielding percentage of 963 in 153 games. Now, he played a lot of last season hurt. He did. And I'll give him some leeway on that. He played hurt. It's hard to do. But he's not really standing out in the way that everybody thought. The hype was super big around this guy. He came up and everyone was like, "Oh, he's a hometown kid. Um, could be the next Jeter type of guy." I don't think in New York we're ever going to get another Jeter type of guy. A Jeter was one of a kind. Say what you want about the guy, he's a legend in baseball. There's a lot of people that hate on and say, "Oh, he wasn't very good." Well, 3,000 hits and you know a Hall of Fame inductee. You can't really dismiss that. So, um, I don't want to hear the Jeter hate, but yeah, Anthony Volpe. I think him being sent down was such a good move because he just isn't getting the job done, and the Yankees are taking more of a win now approach, surprisingly, this year than they have in the past. Well, from what we've seen in a long time. Um, but you got guys like Jose Caballero, who's playing great right now. He's playing great right now. Um, and I'm not too big on McMahon. He's playing all right, but I'm not. I wasn't too big on that signing. They got rid of Grichuk, which I think was, I don't know why they had him anyway. Just bring up Jason Dominguez. But they're making moves. They're keeping guys in place that are playing well. They're not switching guys around. So I think this is a great move for the club right now. And here's the thing, you know, George Lombard Jr. just got called up to AAA as well. Somebody gets hurt, an infielder gets hurt. God forbid Jose Caballero gets hurt. Anthony Volpe better be playing well enough to get called back up because I'm going to tell you right now, George Lombard Jr. deserves to be there more than Anthony Volpe right now. I would love to see George Lombard Jr. get the opportunity to go play shortstop in New York. He really impressed me in spring training. He swung the bat well. He's great with the glove. He's got a really good glove. His hand eye is great. Um, so I would really love to see if the opportunity presented itself, George Lombard get the call over Anthony Volpe. But that just obviously comes down to who's playing well at the time. So we'll kind of see how it all plays out. There's a lot of things going on in the Yankees organization right now. Some of the things are a little confusing. Why we're keeping some guys, why we're not moving some guys. I wouldn't be surprised if toward the trade deadline, maybe we shop around for another third baseman, a better third baseman. Um, I just don't like McMahon in this lineup. I don't like McMahon in this lineup. He has not impressed me. Um, and here, you know what? Let's pull up. Let's just pull up his stats real quick. I should have done this before the show, but I didn't. I didn't think I was gonna get on a freaking McMahon rant right now. He came over from Colorado, which was a struggling team, and he didn't play well. Like the signing for me is confusing because um it wasn't an exciting sign. I mean, it's just kind of like, oh, we just need a third baseman, so let's go um, get this guy. You know, I mean, he, I just I don't like it. I mean, Ahmed Rosario's playing well, so why not keep him at third? Um, yeah, McMahon's hitting 195 right now with 2 home runs. So he's sitting in the back seat on the struggle bus right now. He's not playing well, or he's not swinging it well. I know they got him mostly for the glove. Um, but yeah, I mean he's a career 238 hitter. Uh, I mean his highest batting average that he's had was 254 in 2021. Um, but that seems kind of par for the course for some of these guys. I mean, if you're hitting 250 in the big leagues right now, you're doing well. I mean, I miss the days when guys were consistently hitting 330, 340. Or, you had maybe 4 or 5 guys on your lineup that were hitting 300 plus. But nowadays, you don't have that. You maybe have one, if you're lucky, two that are hitting 300 or more. And it's just sad. And I'll tell you what that is. It's the introduction of this um of metrics and launch angle and of this crap where you get underneath the ball and you're like I, creating spin and they're clocking spin rates and stuff like that. Honestly, who cares? Who freaking cares? I could care less, what your launch angle is on a ball. I want to see you hitting for average. And if you can hit for average and power, that used to be a quality in this game. That used to be an absolute quality in this game where guys could spray the ball all around the field. But now it's all about getting the ball in the air. Growing up, you never wanted that. You wanted line drives, you wanted ground balls in the hole. And now, yes, okay, I'm an old head, somewhat of a traditionalist in that way. Okay, fine, sue me. I don't care. But here's the thing with that. Guys were more productive then than they are now. And you have Judge. Judge is someone who I believe is not solely relying on launch angle. I think his swing naturally does that for him. Um, but otherwise, he wouldn't be hitting the home runs he's hitting and hitting over 300 consistently. So, and right now he's leading the league in home runs. He's got 40. I think he just hit his 14th today. So, or yesterday, I'm not sure actually. Either way, he's leading the league in home runs with 14. Um, but that's where we've seen, and guys also, I'll tell you another thing, guys have lost an approach at the plate. Um, I feel like, especially with two strikes, guys are more willing to take a big swing to potentially hit one out or drive a ball hard in the gap rather than choking up a little bit, getting on the plate, and just worry about getting on base, regardless of how it looks. You know, I feel like that art, the two strike approach, and the approach in general, has been lost in this game. It has. And we're seeing that from top level, and it's oozed its way down into the lower levels. And now you got kids in little league doing the same thing, doing the exact same thing. And for pitchers, you know, to go to the other side of the ball, to go to the defense, they're kind of doing the same thing. It's velocity or nothing. It's spin rate. What's your spin rate on your curveball, your slider, your cutter, anything that moves? What's your spin rate? Who cares? It's either a good pitch or it's freaking not. So either throw it or don't. So, I mean, it's either good or it just sucks. And people nowadays just, they don't get told they suck enough. You have all these travel ball coaches who these parents are pumping money into and stuff like that, or telling these kids, "Oh, you're so good, you're so good," and they're not. They're not. I feel like the level of competition in this game has gone down, and it's due to this metric. Now you can make the case, "Oh, well, they're making the game more fun." Well, um, hitting 250 is not fun. Regardless of if you hit, you know, 30 home runs, and but your strikeout rate is high. You're not getting on base. What's fun about that? And I mean, is your team winning? Are they losing? I mean, especially if you're losing, losing's not fun. Sucking's not fun. So that's just, I mean, to go off on a little rant there, I don't like it. I don't like the way analytics and metrics has taken over this game and made it more about um guys hitting the ball in the air. And there's a stat for everything now. They're tracking absolutely everything. And, ground ball rate, I, I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And even some of these stats that I'm looking at, even on this screen right here, I don't know what they are. And so they're even tracking number of pitches seen. Now, I that one I can understand. Number of pitches seen, I can understand that. But, some of these just don't make sense. War has never made sense. Um, to me, wins above replacement. If you don't know, that one's really, yeah, here it is. Ground outs, air outs. And they're tracking an average on that. Why? Why? Can someone please explain that to me? What the importance of that is? I mean, here's the thing. If you didn't have guys trying to hit the ball in the air, you don't even need this. You don't even need this. Take it back to basic statistics where you had your average, your on base percentage, your slugging, your OPS, your on base plus slugging. That's all fine with me. You know, I want to know how many hits the guy has. You know, I don't care about total bases. I don't care about that. You know, home runs, RBIs. What's his average? Is he getting on base? You know, and the Moneyball era was the start of that, really. And the movie wasn't. If you watch the movie Moneyball, it wasn't totally 100% accurate, but you know, um, that's the era that kind of started this whole. This is how we're going to track players. This is how we're going to determine wealth. So you essentially become less of a human being, less of a player. You become more of a number. What numbers are you putting up? And they're just taking more and more of the human aspect out of the game. And that just, I mean, you can see it with the ABS, you can see it with um you can see it with instant replay. Now, I will say with these things though, you really get the idea of how good, or on the flip side, how bad the umpires are. And I made a post earlier this year, before the season started. I said the ABS is going to expose a lot of these bad umpires, and it has. CB Buckner, if you've been watching, you know, if you've been watching games, um, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible, and that's what the ABS is for. I like the ABS. I think there needs to be something something needs to evolve with the ABS though, in my mind. Something just needs to, I don't know. I don't, just something. I feel like there's just something missing with it. Guys are wanting to use it, and then they're not wanting to use it. You see Judge, he's very reluctant to use it. Um so it's just it's kind of a fickle thing. And then you don't want to use it too early. And then, obviously you don't want to wait too late, but there's a sweet spot I feel like for the ABS. Um Personally, I think using the ABS within the first 3 or 4 innings, um, maybe the fourth, you start getting into the middle of the game, fourth, fourth and on, I could see. But the first 2 innings, it's a little early in my opinion. But um, that's neither here and there. That's just my opinion. And thank you if you're listening to this. You comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the things that I've been saying. And we can address some of this stuff. It's we take follower questions all the time. And if you comment something that's worth talking about, I'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And like I said, Colton will be joining me next week. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. um but moving on from that, um everyone was uh participating in the situation of the week, especially on TikTok, and I really appreciate everybody who's done that. So for those of you who've been waiting for the answer, here is a look at the answer now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Has Been Hangouts Baseball Breakdown. I'm your host, Trucker Lee. Let's get into it. And what was the situation of the week? We had a few right answers, and thank you to all those who participated in this. But let's get into it here. So remember, we had a runner on first and third. So runner here, runner here. We had less than 2 outs. Now, obviously, this does not matter for the fielders. For the defense, this matters nothing. This was just to kind of maybe throw you guys off a little bit. But so you had your hitter here. He hit the ball to the right center field gap. The right fielder came, cut the ball off. Okay. I wanted to know what base he's throwing to. Obviously, when that ball was hit, the runner saw it down. He is scoring. So he is not part of this. This was the runner that mattered. Okay. When this ball gets hit and he sees it down, he's going to go from try to go from first to third. Okay. This right fielder, as we're always playing the lead runner, which is this guy after this guy scores, we are throwing to third, either through the cutoff man, or if the dude's got a freaking cannon for an arm, he's throwing all the way through. So we are playing the lead runner here. Right fielder's going to hose him at third. That was the answer I was looking for. I had a few that said throw behind the runner. I see why you would think that. Typically, no, you want to play the lead runner unless you for sure don't have an out. Okay, then I could see you maybe just give the ball to the cutoff man, and then go from there. I don't see any reason why you would try to make it for a play at second or anything like that. But third,
is the answer. So, with that, there's going to be another one coming out later this week, another situation week. I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult, but I appreciate all those who participated in the very first situation of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And let's get back to the show.
All right. Hope y'all enjoyed the situation of the week, and there will be more coming with that. Like I said in the video, you know, they're going to get tougher as weeks move forward. They're going to get a little bit more, um, you know, detailed, a little bit harder, a little bit more complicated. So to really make you think, as I said in the first video I put out, for those of you who know baseball, that was going to be an easy one. For those of you who really didn't, it may have been a little bit challenging, and that's what I was going for. I don't want to make them just too easy. You know, I'm not going to give you like a situation where nobody on and the ground ball gets hit. Where you're going to throw the ball? I mean, obviously you're going to throw it to first. So, but whatever, and people may not know that, but want to keep it somewhat challenging, even for the easy ones. They need to be a little bit harder, but be ready for the one coming this next week. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. But with that, we'll take a look here at the current standings across Major League Baseball. And to be quite honest, it's looking tough for some of these conferences, or for some of these divisions. The AL East usually is pretty strong. You got the Yankees leading at 23 and 11, and Tampa Bay in second, 21 and 12. They're a game and a half back, and it's early. You know, I made a post the other day. If you've been following the Facebook or really any of our social media, um, I asked who was going to win the AL East. I said it was going to come down between New York and Toronto. It might come down to New York and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's looking really good. They got a lot of good guys, and shout out Trevor Martin, former Asher kid, making his major league debut a couple weeks ago, and did great, pitched well, and so it was cool to see former um, former Asher graduate, fellow Okie, getting out there and shoving in the big leagues. That was really cool. Excuse me. Moving to the AL Central, looking kind of rough. Um, you got Cleveland and Detroit tied at 18 wins, 17 losses. Um, I think those are your two to really watch out for. Uh, Surprisingly, the White Sox have came out of nowhere this year. Um, that new signing they had out of Japan, I cannot think of his name right off the top of my head, but he's been absolutely crushing. And he should probably thank Otani for that, for fixing his swing during the WBC. Um, and so that's a really kind of catapulted them. I mean, they're 2 games under 500. They're a game and a half back right now, sitting in third place. They're probably looking at a wild card spot as it sits right now, but look for the White Sox to maybe make a run at it. We'll see kind of how the season progresses and how it goes on, but they may make a pretty decent run at it, and maybe could even get a wild card playoff spot. Moving on to the AL West, you got the Athletics in first. You got the Rangers in second, and you got the Mariners sitting in third there, with Houston and the Angels on the bottom. Here's my thing with this division. I feel like it has kind of gone downhill. Houston ran it for a while, and even though they cheated, they still ran it for a while. Um, I just, I, the Athletics might actually win this division this year. A team that technically doesn't have a home might win this division this year. And that's a real possibility. They could go and play in the playoffs, and they haven't even moved to where they're supposed to be moving to. I think they're stuck in Sacramento right now, playing at a park that maybe holds 10, 15,000 people. It's basically a minor league park. Um, you know, could you imagine a World Series being played there? It could happen. It could happen. I mean, well, why not? You know what I mean? Why not? And then, do they go to Vegas and then what? What if they win the World Series in Sacramento? Then what? What do you do with that? Um, and moving on to the NL, we'll start in the NL East. The Braves are the hottest team in baseball right now. They are absolutely winning everything. Um, they are playing probably the best complementary baseball you could play right now. Miami's sitting in second. Little surprised by that. The Phillies haven't quite figured it out. The Mets have to be the biggest bust in baseball right now. And I could probably do an entire show myself on how bad the New York Mets are. I mean, you're in last place in the, in the NL East at 13-22, and you signed Juan Soto for $745 million, and he has done nothing. You have Francisco Lindor. You have a number of names on this team, and you can't win. You can't win. You can't figure it out. It absolutely baffles me that they're not even in the conversation at the moment. Could they turn it around? Yes, they could. It's a long season. We're just in May. They still have time, but they better start now because the panic button is, you're getting close to hitting it. Um, so we'll see. The Phillies, shout out to my boy Cade. Hey man, they haven't figured it out yet. At 14-20, um, they were on quite the losing streak there. So, um, mm, I don't know that the Phillies get it figured out. What are they going to do? Moving on to the NL Central. Hey, the Cubs are looking good. The Cardinals are looking good. The Cardinals and the Reds are actually tied 20-14 right now. So the NL Central is one to watch for. Because every team in this division right now is over 500. Even the Pirates sitting in last place, they're 19-16. So look for these teams to really make a push. I mean, the Brewers at 18-15. They're both a game, 3.5 games back. They're both 1.5 games back in the wild card. So, hey, watch out for the NL Central. That's going to be a good one to watch. And as we move to the final one, the NL West, you got the Dodgers. Obviously, I don't really think I need to say much about the Dodgers. They'll more than likely they'll be in the playoffs. The Padres playing well. I mean, they're a half game back right now in the NL West. Diamondbacks, they're okay. 16-17. They're a game under 500. 4.5 games back. Um, 3.5 back in the wild card. They could make a push. When they signed Nolan Arenado this year, I think that was a great pickup for them. But even though they were in the World Series just a few years ago, this is an organization and a team that has flashes. Um, and they're just a flash in the pan type of organization. And I hate to say that, but that's just what they are. They'll start off great, and then as the season progresses, they just fall off. They really just fall off, and there's nothing you can really do about that. Um, Surprisingly, the Rockies are not in last place. It's the San Francisco Giants. Tony Vitello is really, I feel like, already on the hot seat in San Francisco. Um, is it now? You can't put the entire blame on the manager. All he can do is put the lineup card together, and if the guys don't go out and play, you're in the big leagues. You get paid to do this. It, it's not really his fault. Um, he can only put people in that he has that are better than the other ones that he's got. So, I really I don't put the entire blame on Tony Vitello, but the coach is always the first one that goes. So, I they're at 13 and 21. They're 8 games back. We'll kind of see how this progresses. They're not really playing well. They just kind of look distraught and a little just, they're not vibing really well in San Francisco right now. They're just not. The team doesn't look like they want to be there. They're having locker room issues. If you've seen earlier in the season where Matt Chapman tells the first baseman, "Hey, catch the effing ball," and he says that at a mound visit, and then they have a conversation in the locker room that gets pretty heated enough where you know Tony Vitello had to talk about it in a press conference. So you know, I mean, there's a few teams here though that I will say keep your eyes on. Obviously, I would say every team in the NL Central keep your eye on. Even the Pirates. Even the Pirates. They had a crappy opening day. Paul Skeens looked like hot garbage. Um, but look for this team, man. They this NL Central looks like one of the toughest divisions in baseball right now. Um, I will say I mean the Nationals. Keep your eye on the Nationals. I really do think they could make a run for it. I think they could play well. Um, the Mariners. I'm about to say something that's probably going to piss some people off. Because we came out with a list earlier this year of our top 10 players right now. Cal Raleigh was at number 10. I think he's quickly found his way off that list, and that's just my opinion. He's not playing well. He hasn't figured out. I mean, he hit 60 home runs last year. He hit 60. And that's kind of why he made his way into that list because he did something no catcher has ever done before. And hitting 60 home runs in a season is absolutely incredible. A lot of people thought he should have won the MVP. You could make a case for it, but people want to say Judge won the MVP a because he's a Yankee. Well, no. I mean, he still hit 50. He hit over 300. But Cal Raleigh this year in 129 at bats, he's got 24 hits. He's hitting 186. So you want to talk about flash in the pan? Cal Raleigh kind of a flash in the pan right now. He's not really impressing me. And honestly, he has not impressed me much because he's a career 224 hitter. His highest batting average he's had was last year. He hit 247. Obviously, he hit 60. And especially as a switch hitter, um, super impressive. But when you can't repeat it or at least, you know, put up numbers somewhat close, then can you even really be considered a flash in the pan? Or I'm sorry, a great player? Or are you just a flash in the pan? As it sits right now, I'm not impressed. Okay, he had one great season. He had one great season, which is, I mean, obviously more than I can say. I mean, but for the people out there arguing that he's, you know, one of the best hitters in baseball, I strongly disagree with that. I do. I very strongly disagree with that. You can't tell me a career 224 hitter is one of the best hitters in baseball. No, he had one great season. One great season. So, but with that, we'll go ahead and I'm gonna get out of your hair here. So, just be watching out. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm gonna talk a lot of Yankees baseball. I'm gonna cover all things Yankees, anything that goes on like that. Um, but as time goes on, as time progresses, we're gonna cover all baseball. But I'm specifically gonna hammer in on Yankees baseball because that's what I like. That's who I like. And, you know, I'm not mad about it. Like I said, you can be mad, you cannot be mad, but there are some teams out there that I think could be great. Um, and really just keep your eye on the NL Central, man. They're gonna be great. Um, so with that, if you haven't yet, go follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you all at the next hangout. Bye guys.